I hope everyone has had a good Yom Tov and a meaningful Yom Kippur. Last year was the first year we were in Canada Villa for Kol Nidre, and I mentioned then how lovely it was to be back in our spiritual home and how we were looking forward to being in familiar surroundings in the years to come. I think we can safely say that since then, rather than enjoy the familiar, we have had to embrace the unfamiliar, and for many of us, that's meant a great deal of discomfort and in some cases, tragedy throughout the COVID pandemic. Our wonderful community has shown incredible resilience in the face of adversity, which for a small community as young as ours, founded only 4 years ago, is truly impressive. We've had an army of volunteers supporting those who needed help during lockdown. The younger members of our community were out bringing shopping home for the older members, and those clinically vulnerable had their medicines and supplies brought round by those who were thankful to remain well. Resilience comes in all shapes and forms. Simply maintaining our mental health and staying fit and healthy throughout this difficult period is impressive in itself. Everyone had their own coping mechanisms. For some, it was the regular walks in the fresh air. For some, it was settling down with a podcast or an audiobook. For others, it was binge watching every season of Friends on Netflix. For me, it was taking my kids to Hendon Golf Course each afternoon throughout lockdown and teaching my son how to ride his bike without stabilisers. There's money on what will come first. Sam on a bike without stabilisers or the COVID vaccine, and I'll happily take money on this afterwards. Despite all the challenges that lockdown brought us, our community continues to grow. I'm delighted to share that we've just celebrated our 200th member, 60 ahead of our target, which was set for March 2021. Some of you may remember when we launched our United Synagogue membership package 2 years ago, we did so with a clear vision, a clear mission, and clear targets to reach and grow towards. The vision is still the same, to build a vibrant and inclusive Jewish community in Middle East and provide a rich Jewish life religiously, educationally, and culturally for all of its members. And our aspiration is still to be the most vibrant Jewish community in the UK. We also said we would be as inclusive as possible, be the best of orthodoxy, and be responsive and accommodating to our community's wants and needs. In the past year, we've run fantastic events, including on Judaism and genetic testing, in partnership with Genetics. We ran a painting session via Zoom with an artist from America. And let's not forget our full house at Canada Villa to hear from John Ware about his experience making the BBC Panorama documentary on Labour's anti-Semitism crisis. This is on top of our brilliant content for kids, including arts and crafts sessions via Zoom and our ever popular and engaging children's services. These are amongst many other amazing events and activities over the past year. Too many to mention, really. But throughout, despite lockdown, we've kept up with our weekly TMS Tuesday learning sessions, harnessing the power of technology with Rabbi Bensi. We've had cook-alongs on Facebook Live, and we've even transferred our children's services to a virtual version via Zoom. All of these, and indeed everything that we know and love about Middle East, are made possible by a group of volunteers, all of whom are busy with young families and jobs, who make time to create these opportunities for all of us. And I want to take a moment to thank all of them from the bottom of my heart for all they've done. Thank you. Which brings me on to Rabbi Bensi and Michal. This last year has been, let's just say, interesting, hasn't it? You welcomed baby Lavi into the world in the height of lockdown, temporarily moving back to Israel to be close to family at that challenging time, all the while remaining in touch with your community back here. You then returned to Middle East and have since then been working tirelessly for the good of the community, often working under the radar, supporting those who need help. The packs you delivered to families with children starting school were a stroke of genius and are just one example of the extensive work you've been doing. We're so lucky to have you. Thank you. We're very blessed in the Middle East to have an amazing set of volunteers who I paid tribute to just now. We're also blessed to be supported by the United Synagogue in many ways, one of which is financial, through a grant from the Communities of Potential Board. We know the US is fully behind us and champions us at every opportunity, but we also know that the financial support won't be there forever, so we need to plan to get onto a solid financial footing ourselves. We shared a financial snapshot at the last town hall meeting. However, a number of factors have meant that the model we use towards financial stability has been pushed back somewhat. Firstly, due to COVID, we've put our planned increase in membership fees that we had diarised for March 2021 on hold after 3 years, remaining at £18 a month. People's finances over the pandemic have been precarious, and we are cognisant of that. When we plan to put this back on the agenda, we will of course do so in full communication with all of you. Secondly, our usage of the beautiful surroundings of Allianz Park, rather than Canada Villa, for our Shabbatot and Chagim services, cost over double our usual rent. Having the services at Allianz Park also meant that we needed to buy new materials to make the services COVID secure, as well as new mechitzas and other additional costs. We also sorely needed new appurtenances, I do love that word, for the shul, such as a new ark, a new bimah with covers and everything that goes with it, and of course a new Sefer Torah that we can call our own, with all of the trimmings that requires. All of these things cost money, and as our community grows, so do the costs that are required to service everyone's varied needs and offer the best possible provision to all of our members. In previous Kol Nidre appeals, we've asked you for your time as volunteers. Many people have answered this call in the past and in the last year, but we still need more. So if you want to volunteer with us, please do get in touch. This year, however, we are asking for your financial support. If you have particularly enjoyed the services over Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, or anything we've done this year, or even if you haven't, every penny counts. Straight after the fast ended, you'll receive this email. After the shofar blast hit us and pierced into our souls, when the gates of heaven are now truly open for our prayers, and I also pray that you will follow our request and click that donation link. Please give generously. The proceeds will support our wonderful community, and funds will be set aside, as they have been throughout our existence as a community, for our hardship fund, for those of us having a difficult time and requiring financial support, particularly those struggling due to COVID. To finish, honestly, it's fantastic to have seen so many people in our services over Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, despite the circumstances. Let's not forget that this community started by printing 250 flyers on A5 paper and 4 volunteers putting them through every Middle East house with a mezuzah in the summer of 2016. We now need to rise up to the next level. When, please God, the situation allows us to return to normality, we'll be ready to not just return to business as usual, but to rise up and reach our aspirations as the most vibrant and welcoming community in the country. I hope you all had an easy fast, and I wish that we all have a year ahead filled with only health and happiness, and one where all of us can reach our aspirations and where the spectre of coronavirus is truly eradicated from our lives. Shana Tova.
ישלח לי